struggling to save, invest, and build wealth, or you're feeling hopeless and stressed out? It's time to finally take control of your debt with my best-selling course, Get Out of Debt Fast, a proven plan for debt-free personal finances. It's a comprehensive and affordable online class that teaches you how to face your finances, get out of debt, and stay debt-free. You'll come away with a clear plan to eliminate credit cards, student loans, car loans, medical bills, mortgages, or any debt you have. Learn more at lauradadams.com. Hey everyone, I'm Laura Adams, and you're listening to the Money Girl Podcast. Since 2008, I've been bringing you personal finance and small business tips every week. This show helps you get the knowledge and motivation to prioritize your finances, build wealth, and have more security and less stress. If you haven't already done it, be sure to follow Money Girl on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to podcasts, so you'll automatically get each new weekly episode. Also, many of the topics that I cover come from your questions. You can leave me a question or a comment 24/7 using our voicemail line. Just call 302-364-0308. Or you can email me using my contact page at lauradadams.com. And speaking of emails, I got a great one from Faith F. She says, I'm 33 years old and work full-time. I'm considering switching my traditional 401k to a Roth. I listened to your podcast about their differences, so I know the advantage of the Roth is that I will not have to pay taxes when I take distributions in retirement. But would a traditional 401k be more advantageous because my retirement tax bracket will be lower? Could you discuss why your retirement tax bracket may be higher or lower? Thank you so much for your question, Faith. This show will cover it, and I'm going to answer what you should know about choosing a traditional or Roth retirement account at work. So if this is something you're also confused about or just, wondering how to know which choice is best, stay with me. First, we're going to start out with a quick review of what a Roth 401k is. Most workplace retirement plans, like a 401k or a 403b, offer Roth options. And by the way, if you have a plan that doesn't, request it. You can ask your retirement benefits administrator or the owner of your company to include that for you. Like a Roth IRA, a workplace Roth requires you to make after-tax contributions. So that means you don't get any tax breaks for the money that you put in a Roth in the current year. However, as Faith mentioned, you get to make tax-free distributions in retirement. And that's a really big deal because you avoid tax on all earnings in your account. Imagine this scenario. Let's say you contribute $1,000 a month to a Roth 401k starting in your mid-20s. And let's say you do that for 40 years. And, the reality is you'd probably increase that contribution over time. But just assuming that constant $1,000 a month contribution, you would have contributed $480,000 from your paychecks. So that's 40 years times $12,000 a year. Assuming a 7% average annual return over those 40 years, your account would be worth more than $2.64 million in your mid-60s. So the earnings portion of the account, or $2.16 million, would be entirely tax-free. So that's a lot of money that you get to avoid paying taxes on. And this is why, the Roth accounts are just so great. Now, remember that with a traditional retirement account, you make pre-tax contributions. That does give you a tax break or a tax deduction in the current year, which is great. And some people, prefer that. But the downside is that you do have to pay tax on the distribution of both contributions and all those earnings in retirement. That allows you to defer taxes, but not eliminate them, right? So, the only amount that you truly own of a traditional account in retirement is the after-tax portion of that account. Another similarity between a Roth IRA and a Roth 401k is that there are no required minimum distributions, or RMDs. That means you can take money out of a Roth in retirement or choose to leave your funds in the account indefinitely. With traditional pre-tax retirement accounts, you don't have that option. You've got to begin taking RMDs at age 73, and that's the new limit starting this year. And by the way, in a decade, in 2033, that gets bumped up to 75. So at that point, when you have to begin taking RMDs, it increases your taxable income. So let's go back to that example of growing that $2.64 million nest egg, but now it's in a traditional 401k instead of a Roth 401k. In that case, the RMDs or any larger amounts that you choose to take out are going to be taxable, and that could make a huge difference in how much you get to spend in retirement. Unlike a Roth IRA, which does not allow high earners to make contributions, there are no income limits for a workplace Roth, which is fantastic. And by the way, if you want to learn more about those Roth IRA income limits, you can go back to previous podcasts in the archive. I've done lots of shows about them. Plus, the contribution limits for workplace plans are much higher than for IRAs. For 2023, you can put up to $22,500 or $30,000 if you're over 50 in a workplace plan, but you can only contribute up to $6,500 or $7,500 when you're over 50 to an IRA. So how do you choose between a traditional and a Roth 401k or 403b? Well, you may have heard that a Roth is great for young people because they are likely earning less now than they will in the future. In other words, if you get to choose whether to pay tax now at a relatively low tax bracket or tax rate, or in the future at a potentially higher rate, you should opt to pay taxes now by contributing to a Roth. However, a Roth can also make sense for older people who want to have some of that tax-free retirement income. And even if you aren't working in retirement or earning any money, RMDs from traditional retirement accounts and income from other investments could certainly kick you into a higher tax bracket than you anticipate. More retirement income would increase your tax bill, obviously, and that includes taxes on Social Security retirement benefits and the cost of Medicare Part B premiums that you can get starting at age 65. So that's why it's always a good idea to diversify your retirement with taxable and non-taxable income sources. Faith asked why your retirement tax bracket may be higher or lower. Well, you certainly have some control over your taxes depending on whether you choose to earn money, such as from a part-time job or a business after you officially retire. However, we can't control the tax code. No one knows for sure what's going to happen to future tax rates and income brackets. Our current tax rates are relatively low by historical standards. For instance, the top rate for married couples in 2022 was 37%. But back in 1981, it was 70%. And in 1963, it was a whopping 91%. So, we don't know what's going to happen. It's really impossible to know your exact future tax liability in retirement. You simply have to make your best guess about what may happen with your income and taxes. And many experts believe that tax rates in general could go up in the future in order to pay for the federal deficit or to pay for other social programs that may be in trouble. Another consideration might be estate planning and passing money to your heirs. If so, a Roth has some excellent advantages. If the account is at least 5 years old, your beneficiaries won't have to pay income taxes on distributions from an inherited Roth. So it's a great way to transfer money to those you leave behind. Faith, if you have high W-2 income or any additional business income, and you want every possible deduction to cut your tax bill, contributing to a traditional 401k makes sense. But if you don't need those upfront tax deductions, I'd encourage you to go ahead and start making Roth 401k contributions. And for anyone unsure which account to choose, I think an excellent strategy is simply splitting your contributions 50-50, putting half in a traditional 401k and half in a Roth 401k. So you enjoy the benefits of both. Faith, I hope that's helpful. Thanks again so much for your question. That's all for now. I'll talk to you next week. Until then, here's to living a richer life. Money Girl is a quick and dirty tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Steve Rickyberg with editing by Adam Cecil. Our podcast and advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchins. Our marketing and publicity assistant is Davina Tomlin. And our intern is Cameron Lacey.